Hey there, this is Mike Durr, Kingwood Mortgage Guy, and I've got the pleasure of interviewing Chris Boyer of Allstate Insurance, a local Kingwood guy. And Chris, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks
Doing
for coming on.
doing great, Mike. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled. And just a little bit about Chris is that I do refer other people out for insurance because I think it's wise to get multiple offers. But the thing I'll tell you about Chris is Chris wins about 80% of the ones that I send out this group of people to. And I'm guessing that you do that with your good looks and your charm. Is that right?
I wish I wish that were true, Mike.
So, Chris, tell me a little bit about where you grew up, how you got in the insurance business.
Okay. Well, I was born in Morgan City, Louisiana. Grew up and we moved to New Orleans, and I grew up in New Orleans, and then started high school there. So I have a lot of good Louisiana memories, but I now consider Texas my home. So we moved to Kingwood, Texas, when I was in high school, and I've been basically Kingwood, Houston, Kingwood. Of course, we get a family and move back to Kingwood because that's what's familiar and it's got great school systems. So here I am, and I started working. My father started the agency in 1994 when we moved from Kingwood, and I started working with Allstate and him in 2005, and I've been here for 18 years now.
Wow, 18 years. Still a young man, too. Well, tell me about your family.
You said, tell me about the family, you said? So
Yeah.
I'm married to Danielle Boyer, amazing woman, and I have two children, Catalina Boyer and Kayla Boyer. My daughter's 12 and my son is 10 years old.
Wow. I remember when they were babies.
Yeah, happens fast.
So where'd you go to school? Did you go to college?
I did, yes, sir. I went to U of H.
That's all. Okay, good. Well, good deal. All right, I got a list of questions here. I'm just going to run through them here. You got into insurance obviously because of your dad, right? You wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
follow after his graceful footsteps. So, do you tell me about what you like about it and what you don't like about it?
Well, I've been doing it for a long time, right? I like dealing with people. I don't like, obviously, I, I like dealing with people, and I like helping people. That's my favorite part of the job, is the reward from helping someone. And most people don't like dealing with insurance. Let me get that out there right now, right away. So people don't. So if I can make you hate it a little less, then I feel like that's a victory. That's the way I look at it. And so I like making people laugh. I like to develop a relationship, and I have plenty of opportunities to talk to people. And then I have opportunities to talk to people when they're happy, not happy, and everything's fine. So that's insurance. Insurance to me is right now it's the market is crazy in insurance, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, and I plan to be here for a long time. So
Well, good. I appreciate that. So one of the things that I believe is I guess the role that I play, I help people with their financing. Part of the financing part includes the insurance component, and I don't think particularly first-time home buyers have a clue what they should get, what they're supposed to get with insurance. And one of the things that I like about the way you work with our people is you explain this stuff. And give me just a short synopsis of somebody brand new, first-time home buyer, they're buying insurance. What do they need to know?
oh man. Obviously, I remember doing it myself, right? So, and you helped me out on that one. So, but I remember it like it was, just the other day. And there's a lot of things that come into it, a lot of things that come into the closing costs, and one of them is insurance. And then, so yes, you want to get the cheapest price possible, and you want that. That's the want, right? But that doesn't mean that you're taken care of, and it doesn't mean that it's going to be best for you down the road. Always. So when people come to me and they want a quote, I do it like I'm doing it for myself. I try to do it like I was setting it up for my dad or setting it up for my sister. I try to keep it super simple, one. And then two, if you have any questions, you can ask me anything. There's no dumb questions. I am always available. And so but when I do it for myself, that's how I send quotes. Like I was doing, if I think it's important for me, I'm going to put it on there and I'm going to talk to you about it. And if you want to take it off, if you want to take that coverage off the quote to try to cheapen the price or make the price less, great. We'll have that conversation. But I think that's where I like to start. And that's usually how I do it. And I think it helps to develop a little bit of trust. And then, there's been times where you have to increase a deductible in order to help for closing temporarily. And then you can look at maybe lowering it when everything gets a little bit more settled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact, Jack. It's the way sometimes we just kind of maneuver that.
Yes,
so one of the things that I was looking at is who would be the ideal client for Allstate Insurance, Chris Boyer in Kingwood, Texas.
I try not to set up put any expectations on someone, because when I think about what the ideal client is, and you just never know. You just never know, honestly. So I try to not to. Obviously, for Allstate, auto and home. If you have auto and home, that's going to give me the best opportunity to get you in our book of business and to take care of you and give you the best price. But other than that, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's hit or it. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. And if it does work out, fantastic. If it doesn't work out, I am more than happy to try to point you in a direction that I think would benefit you. And that's just the way that I would want somebody to do it for me. So that's the way I try to do it.
No, I think that's a great answer. So the insurance has just gone crazy in the last 6 to 12 months. What's that about? Give us just kind of a hint as what's going on.
So like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years plus now. And I've never seen the insurance market this volatile, as and I think it really started about 2 years ago. And last year seemed to be the year of auto, and this past year seemed to be the year of home. But and it really is. Everyone sees the insurance companies, they see all the advertising, they think, man, they are just rolling in it. And, they're going to make their money. They're going to figure out how to do it. But the cost of claims, I wouldn't say that we've necessarily had more claims, because we haven't had a hurricane in a while, right? And we've had the freeze, which was statewide. But we haven't had the hurricane, that massive catastrophe. But there's been stuff all over, hailstorms all over Texas, and replacing roofs constantly. But it's the cost per claim that's gone crazy. And like, we're totaling out more vehicles than I've ever seen totaled out before. And it's just, whereas it used to be maybe 10 or 15 a year. I mean, we're talking a couple of weeks sometimes, and so there's the cost that people don't see, and the cost to repair stuff, the cost to repair homes, the cost to repair cars, the length of time that cars are in the shop is just gone off the charts. So the insurance companies are really tightening up, and unfortunately they're spreading it across everyone, and everyone is feeling it for sure.
Yeah, we've noticed that. No doubt. Okay, so again, first-time home buyer, come in, and I've got a question here. It says, what are the must-haves, and why are those the must-haves? And it may not be just for first-time home buyers, because I mean, it's probably the same for everybody.
Right. So I'm going to lay the quote out like I would be doing it for myself. So what are the must-haves? I think it's super important in our area to have the building ordinance coverage. If you don't see that on there, make sure you put it on there, because if you have a claim and you don't have that coverage on there, they're not going to pay to put you up to code. So I know that's a little thing, but I've seen it happen where someone didn't have it and it wasn't cool. So you want to have that building ordinance coverage 5% minimum, maybe 10%. So like I said, what they'll repair your house and just put it back to the way it was, and that's the way that they would give you the money for it. But if you have the building ordinance coverage, they'll give you the extra money to put everything up to code. You're going to have to do that anyways, so you might as well have the insurance pay for it. I feel like the water backup is still important. We don't have a lot of it, but we did during Harvey, and everyone who had water backup got water backup coverage. So now, granted, every claim can be different, so I don't want to just throw a blanket on stuff, but make sure that you have replacement costs on your roof. If it's possible, make sure you have replacement costs on your personal property. Make sure you increase your additional living expenses. It's a minor little thing, but it could come into play. That's about it.
So what I'm thinking, I know how each of those extra coverages cost a little bit of extra money per year, but it doesn't sound like any of those are like massive increases. Is that correct?
No, not for the first person. I mean, like if you were coming down the road, you could look at adding jewelry and get itemized coverage for jewelry on your policy. And, you can tailor-made the policy a little bit more. But for the first time person who's getting a home insurance, let's focus on the basics, and let's, find somebody who's willing to talk to you about everything. I think that's important.
So one of the things that I wanted to point out about you guys too is when I have a problem or a question, I call Chris, right? I get you on the phone and you answer the phone and you talk to me. One of the problems I see with some of the big companies, and I don't even know right off the top of my head which ones they are, but you're talking to, maybe you get to talk to a person, maybe you go through a phone bank and you don't get to talk to somebody. And personally, I think that is worth a lot. And my guess is you wouldn't do it if you didn't think it was worth a lot too.
We bank on it. I mean, that's our bread and butter, is to be able to be available and in our customer service. We're not a super agent. We don't write. We want to write and we want to keep. And part of that keeping is developing a relationship and trust. And I want you to be able to call me and know that I'm there and that we can talk. And there's me, Janet, or Amy in the office. Janet's been in our office for 21 plus years. Amy's been in our office for 5+ years. I've been here for 18 years. So, we know people. When people walk in the door, I actually know who it is most of the time. And I try to do my best. I've gotten a couple names wrong in the past.
Well, you probably have more communication with people. I see people in the grocery store and they'll go, Mike. And I tell you, since I don't get to see them, sometimes I'll go to closing when I can, but most of the time it's on the phone. And so most of the time I just say, sorry, dude, I don't know. But anyway, all right. So let's see. You retain your clients. So you just said that. Is there a question that I should have asked you that I haven't asked you yet?
Honestly, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, I think that when you're dealing with insurance, make sure you're dealing with someone who's got your best interest at heart. That somebody who's not just writing something to get it written and then you're gone. You're never going to talk to them again. You want somebody who you can go see, some level of accountability. You can walk into my office anytime, catch me right there. So I think that's important when you're shopping for insurance.
So I didn't put this on there, but I want to. But tell us what the address is of the office.
1800 North Park Drive, Suite C as in Chris, Kingwood, Texas, 77339.
Okay. So other than that, I don't have any other questions. I want to thank you for being on and being so open about your business. And I just sincerely tell you that I appreciate you and will continue to promote you like I have in the past. All right.
Same to you, Mike. I appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks, Chris.